Hello, my name is Amanda Gorman. I was born on March 7, 1998 in Los Angeles, California. I have auditory processing disorder, which means I am hypersensitive to sound. I also have speech impediment, which means I stutter. I also overcame that. As a child, I went to New Roads, a K 12 private school. I lived with my single mother, who was a sixth grade teacher. Fast forward a few years, and I received a scholarship. I went to Harvard University. While in Harvard, I was the first person doing National Youth Poet Laureate. That means I show strong skill in poetry, leadership, and social justice. I founded One Pen, One Page, a nonprofit reading leadership organization. I made a poem called Earthrise, which is all about the climate crisis. For the summer of 2020, I made a show called Race and Racism on PBS Kids, which is all about race and racism. It was about kids talking to their parents about racism. At the 2021 inauguration, I read the poem "The Hill We Climb." Jill Biden recommended that I read it. I also have read at the Super Bowl. I have made poems like "The One for Whom Food Is Not Enough" and "The Miracle of Born." I have written for the Harvard Gazette, and I have been on MTV and CBS This Morning. I hope to run for president in 2036, and Hillary Clinton supports me. I think I am a peacemaker because I make poems that spread awareness about things like racism and climate change.
Hello, my name is Fred Rogers. I was born on March 20th, 1928 in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. My parents were James and Nancy Rogers. I lived in a brick mansion at 737 Weldon Street, Latrobe. As a kid, I was teased. I was teased as a kid. I was called Fat Freddy. I made work, and since I had no friends, I made my own worlds in my bedroom. When I went to Latrobe High School, I overcame my shyness. First became famous when my US TV show was released. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood came out based on my hit Canadian program, Mr. Rogers. I started in 1968 and ended in 2000. My show aired for 895 episodes. I'm considered a peacemaker because of my funding in children's hospitals, kindness and caringness to children, and helping children control and talk about their feelings. I was accepted into the TV Hall of Fame in 1999, and I received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2002. I died on February 27th, 2003, age 74. I died in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I died due to stomach cancer. And yes, I am a ghost. So yes, I'm gonna haunt someone now. Yeah, I'm gonna haunt someone now.
Hello, my name is Michelle Obama, and I was born on January 17th, 1964 in Chicago, Illinois. I grew up with my older brother, Craig. He is about 21 months older than me, so we were often mistaken as twins. My father, Fraser Robinson, was a city pump operator and a Democratic captain. My mother usually stayed home with Craig and I to take care of us. Both Craig and I skipped second grade. I learned French from the program my school provided. Later, I went to study at Harvard Law, and when I met Barack Obama, my life changed. We got married in 1992 and had 2 girls. When he wanted to become president, I was worried it'd impact my life, but I still supported him. In 2009, he became president, and our lives changed as I expected, but in good ways too. As First Lady, I served as a role model for women for education, nutrition, physical activity, and healthy eating. I inspired people with my book I published, Becoming, in 2018. Here's one of my quotes from my book. Even when it is not pretty or perfect, even when it is more real than you want it to be, your story is what you have, what you always have. It is something to own. This This is why I think I'm a peacemaker. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I am Martin Luther King Jr. I was born on January 15th, 1929. So I was African American Baptist minister and activist, and I was a leader in the American Civil Rights Movement from 1955 until I was shot in 1968. I was inspired by my Christian beliefs to do the civil rights movement with nonviolence and civil disobedience. I was inspired also by the activism Mata Gishi. I succeeded, and I marched through Washington, D.C. Today, the resting place of my death is a National Historical Park named after myself. The children I had were Yolanda, Martin, Dexter, and Bernards. I was the father, and the mother was Alberta Williams King. My relatives, which is a sister, I had a sister, a brother, and I had my niece as well. My sister's name was Christian King Ferris, and my brother's name was Alfred Daniel Williams King, and my niece's name was Alveda King. My education started at Morehouse College, Crozer Theological Seminary, and Boston University. I was a Baptist minister and, of course, an activist. I was known for this movement in Washington, D.C. I was known for I have my dream speech. I have a dream that one day my children will be known for their personalities, not because of the color of their skin. Black people shouldn't be treated unfairly just because of the color of their skin. We should be treated as fair as the white Latinos and others as well. We might look different, doesn't mean we shouldn't be treated equally. And my rewards, I got the Nobel Peace Award, Presidential Medal of Freedom. And my memorial was the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. And I believed that everyone should be treated fairly. Thank you.
Hello, fellow peacemakers. My name is Asako Sato. I was born March 27th, 1901 in Tebuse, Japan. I grew up in an old samurai family. My brother's names were Nobutsu Kishi, and my parents' names were Hidesuke Sato and Moyo Sato. I entered the Tokyo Imperial University and majored in German jurisprudence. I was taught to be a lawyer, but employed in the Japanese Railways service, and married Hiroko Sato, February 23, 1926. After the war, I pursued myself to fix the damage of both the atomic bombs. Later, I became the Prime Minister of Japan. I promoted peace because I signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which helped stop the growth of nuclear weapons, which is a big deal because Japan was the only country that was bombed by nuclear bombs. I also represented the will of Japanese peace and was the Prime Minister of Japan, which is a very big role, and was known for helping rebuild after World War II. I also supported America in the Vietnam War. I peacefully passed away June 3rd, 1975 in Tokyo with a wife and 2 kids. My favorite quote is, "It is the earnest hope that the world may see the day when all nuclear weapons are abolished." This quote to me means a lot because as a Japanese, I experienced the damage nuclear bombs can make.
It also means another country does not have to get nuclear bombed or attacked with another nuclear weapon. And that may save lots of people's lots of people's lives. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, my name is Albert Einstein. I'm really glad to be here. I have no middle name, and neither did my father. I grew up in a Jewish family, and I had dyslexia, which is a learning disorder. I believe I'm a peacemaker because I won a Nobel Peace Prize, and also because in World War II, I created a bomb, but I only wanted to scare the Japanese with it. Another reason I believe I'm a peacemaker is because I was against racism, and I used my fame to help stop it. Those some injustices I faced during this were people were against me, especially J. Edgar Hoover, who placed me under FBI surveillance. Though I tried very hard to stop racism, and I joined an organization to help stop it. And though I was also harassed just for being a Jew. One famous quote I said was, "Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving." And what it meant to me at the time was exactly that. Life is like riding a bicycle because there's going to be bumps in the road, but you have to get through them to get through life. And sometimes you'll fall off the bike, but you get back on the bike and keep moving. So this is why I believe I'm a peacemaker, because I tried to stop racism. My fans helped with that, and even though some people were against me, that didn't stop me. And I believe I tried my very hardest to stop people from harassing and abusing people of color.
Hi, my name is Nelson Mandela. I was born on July 18th, 1918 in Mvezo, a village in Umtata, South Africa, and grew up in Johannesburg, South Africa. I died on December 5th, 2013 in Johannesburg, South Africa. I wanted to end racism because I thought it wasn't fair how some people are treated differently just because of the color of their skin. I tried to end racial profiling in nonviolent ways, like setting up peaceful protests against the National Party's racist laws. I was sent to jail for this, and lots of people did not support my cause. I was elected as the first Black president of South Africa and ended apartheid. One of my quotes is, "A winner is a dreamer who never gives up." I think this means that even if you don't win, as long as you never give up, you'll still be a winner. I think this promotes peace because it says to never give up on your dreams. I think I'm a peacemaker because my cause was not only for me, but for many others.
Hi, I am Betty Ayola Bigombe. I was born on October 21, 1952. My father is a nurse and I am one of 11 children. I'm an ethnic Akali, which are part of the Luo people that came from northern Uganda. I graduated at Isaiah High School in 1968. I also graduated at Trinity College Namingo during 1970. I got my degree in Bachelor of Arts in Social Science in 1974 at Macquarie University. I graduated with my degree in Master of Public Administration at Harvard University. At 1981 to 1984, I worked as company secretary of the Ugandan Mining Corporation. From 1986 to 1996, I was part of the Ugandan Parliament as a member of the Parliament. In 1988, I was appointed State Minister of Northern Uganda. I played an important role in resolving peace in Africa. I led peace and humanitarian efforts first as State Minister and second as Chief Mediator. My job was to convince the Lord's Resistance Army to lay down their arms for peace. I started talks with Joseph Kony, but unfortunately they failed, and I flew to USA. When I heard about the 2004 Bulawayo massacre, I flew all the way back to Uganda so I can stop the Lord's Resistance Army again. I started some new talks as Chief Mediator, but unfortunately they failed the last minute when Joseph Kahn refused to sign the peace treaty. Later, I was made an African scholar, and I received the Peacemakers in Action Award from the Tannenbaum Center for Interreligious Understanding. I'm a peacemaker because I never gave up to start talking with Joseph Kony to lay down their arms. I once said, I'm a very strong believer that military victory will never bring sustainable peace. This is important because I know that victory in the military is through violence, and you can't have victory if you're not making peace. So I'm trying to say is that you have to be peaceful to make peace.
Hello, my name is Rosa Louise McCalvey Parks. My birthday is February 4th, 1913. I went to high school and graduated in the year 1933. My mother is a teacher and my father is a carpenter. I got married to a barber named Raymond Parks in the year 1932 at the age of 19. In 1955, on December 1st, I refused to get up from my seat in the front of the bus to a white man, thus starting the Montgomery bus boycott, where many other people boycotted and stopped using buses and would just walk instead or use other ways of transportation. I got arrested that day and stayed in jail for about a day. My husband got a lot of death threats after the boycott. In the year 1956, the boycott ended. I was not the first person to stand up to these racist rules and segregation. There was a girl named Claudette Calvin a couple months before. She had done the same thing, and she didn't get as recognized because she had darker skin and was pregnant. I got awarded the Congress Medal in 1999. I moved to Detroit in the year 1957, where my brother Sylvester lived. I got awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in the year 1964. 32 years later, I got the Freedom Award. And this is why I think I'm a peacemaker. I died about 6 years ago at the age of 92 in the year 2005 from natural causes.
Hello, my name is Malala Yousafzai. I'm a Pakistani woman who was born July 12, 1997. I'm 23 years old. I grew up in the city of Mangor with my mom, my dad, and my two younger brothers. My father was a teacher who ran lots of different schools. Many Pakistani girls like me did not attend school, but my father ran a school where girls attended. I loved learning and going to school, but that all changed when the Taliban attacked Mangor when I was 10 years old. The Taliban said women must stay home, and if they were to go out, they must be accompanied by a male relative and wear a burqa, a kind of face mask. As the Taliban gained more control, they said that girls' schools were to shut down. If not, they were destroyed. After some time, my father was approached by the BBC News to get a female student to write about her life under Taliban rule. I accepted. I wrote a blog called Diary of a Pakistani Schoolgirl. I wrote under the pen name Gul Makai, a Pakistan superhero. Those Taliban weren't happy with me. They did not like me speaking out. So on October 9th, 2012, after school, they shot me in the head. My recovery took lots of time and surgeries, but 6 months later, I am in England and fine. Getting shot didn't stop me. In 2014, I was the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize, and in 2018, I successfully graduated from college. I think I am a peacemaker because I help promote women and girls' education.
I just forgot to write my name out.
Go.
Hello, my name is Philip Berrigan. I was born in 1923 in Minnesota. I was an American peace protester. I was a Roman Catholic priest. I was a nonviolent protester. I was drafted into World War II. The war traumatized me and made me decide to protest against war and to protest for peace. I started many protest groups, such as the Baltimore 4, the DC 9, the Harrisburg 7, and the Catonsville 9. I was jailed many times in my life. I burnt thousands of military drafts. I married a former nun when I was still a priest. For doing that, I got kicked out of the church. My last protest was in 1999. I was jailed and then released in 2001. In 2002, I died from cancer.
Like me.
The reason I think I'm a peacemaker is because I worked very hard to promote anti-war and to promote nuclear disarmament, to stop nuclear weapons.
Hello, my name is Diana Frances Spencer. I am the Princess of Wales, a part of the UK. I was born on July 1st, 1961, in Sandringham, United Kingdom. When I was just 8 years old, I was sent to boarding school. At school, I enjoyed playing sports, doing music, and doing art. At the age of 32 years old, I married a man named Prince Charles Philip George. In 1992, I became passionate about helping the homeless youth throughout the UK, so I worked with Centrepoint Charity to provide housing and support for the homeless. I also worked to spread awareness worldwide to ban landmines. In 1997, I visited Angola to walk through the recently cleared landmines to let people know that while people are working in the landmines, they have a high chance of losing an arm or a leg and that their lives are at risk. Some of the causes I'm passionate about are AIDS awareness and helping to educate people about leprosy by showing compassion to those who suffer with it. A hardship that I faced was that when I was 6 years old, my mother had left my family, leaving me to be raised by a variety of nannies. My childhood was very lonely, and I spent a lot of my time sitting on my front porch waiting for my mother to come home, although she never did. I died on August 31st, 1997, in Ponce de Alma, Paris, from a car crash due to the paparazzi chasing my driver and I through a tunnel. Here is one of my famous quotes. I think the biggest disease in the world that the world suffers from in this day and age is the disease of people feeling unloved. I believe that I'm a peacemaker because I dedicated my life to helping others and making sure that everyone felt loved.
Hi, my name is Robbie Novak, but I'm better known as Kid President. I'm currently 17 years old and I'm alive. I was raised by my adoptive parents, and I'm best friends with my brother, Brad, brother-in-law, who usually films my videos that I do on YouTube. I live in Henderson, Tennessee. I make videos because I want to make this world a more awesome place. I have brittle bone disease, and brittle bone disease basically means that my bones can break a lot easier. So, like, what would be normal for you, I could probably get like 100 fractures in a lifetime. I'm associated with several initiatives that help those and help spread awareness for those who are sick, hungry, homeless, and people who just need help. I created my very first Kid President video in July of 2012 in a simple belief that kids' voices should be heard. And I wanted to change how the world sees kids and how the kids see the world and really make it so we all have our own opinions and why should kids be kept secret. Something interesting that actually happened with me is, one, I met Barack Obama in real life, and two, I kissed Beyonce. One of my quotes is, you don't need a cape to be a hero, you just need to care. It means anybody can be a hero. It could be me, you, or anybody. You don't have to be some superpowers like Superman or something, anything like that. You just have to have kindness and do so. I make my videos because I want to make this world a really better world. Now, time to dance. The reason I'm doing this is because at the end of each Kid President video, you got the dancing. Yeah.
Start the music. Hi, my name is Dorothy Mae Day, and my life started on November 8th, 1997 in New York. I was born into a religious family of John and Grace Day. When I was a kid, I got to move around a lot, so I got to see San Francisco, Chicago, and fun fact, I was 10 years old when I experienced the 1906 earthquake, and I was living in Oakland Hills. That's when I realized that people need to get together and help the poor. So that's when I went to the University of Illinois. Once there, I was inspired to help the poor and hungry. But however, in 1916, I moved back to New York and began work for a social newspaper. While in New York, I started protesting for peace and civil workers' rights, but became known for my campaigns in 1933. I co-founded a Catholic worker movement. I got recognized by Pope Benedict and Pope Francis, and they even put me on a list of 4 people who made a better future. Which some people think of me as a saint. I'm considered a peacemaker because in my life, I've resolved basic human rights, like the right for women to vote and elect and educate people on social injustices. I did this because I believe that social injustices needed to be reformed so that there would be a better future. I tried to resolve these issues through peaceful protests and with the education on social injustices, which I proved in my Catholic Worker Movement newspaper. It was then that I exposed issues such as bad working conditions. Even though I love protesting and fighting for my social injustices, it came with some hardships. For example, I had gotten arrested several times. I even got arrested 5 times for sitting on a bench as a witness against the near arms race, and once for protesting for women's rights to vote. But through those hardships, I'm proud to say that my effects, along with many others, published for a change in the how we have today for several citizens, workers, and women's rights issues, and social injustices. Prayer, peace, and Medan. Thank you for listening to me. Before I go, I will leave you with my favorite quote. The only solution is love. I was born on February 12, 1809 in Kentucky, and my childhood was not so easy. My family was poor, and when I was young, my mother died. My family moved several times throughout my young life until we ended up in Illinois. I educated myself by reading as many books as I could, and sometimes walked for miles just to be able to borrow a book from the library. People would say that I am a peacemaker because while President of the United States, I led the Union Army to victory over the Confederate Army, which ended the Civil War, one of the bloodiest wars in the history of the United States. I also declared an end to slavery in the United States by the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. In fact, the reason I ran for president was to stop slavery. I believe everyone deserves to be free. A major hardship of mine was depression. One of the things I did to defeat my depression was focusing on my goal, which was to end slavery. Another hardship of mine was getting a good education because my self-study was taken as laziness by my father, who wanted me to work on the farm. But I succeeded in preserving the Union and abolishing slavery. But before I could see the results, I died after John Wilkes Booth shot and killed me at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., April 15, 1864. My most
King's Quarters 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. This means that we need to remember that the United States was founded on the principle that all men, no matter their skin color, are created equal. I think I am a peacemaker because as the 16th President of the United States, I successfully led the Civil War to preserve the nation. I played a key role in the passage of the 13th Amendment, which officially ended slavery in America by Emancipation Proclamation, which was a very good act at the time.
Hi, I'm Harry Styles, and this is my story. I was born on February 1st, 1994, in Redditch, Worcestershire, England, and my parents were Anne and Desmond Styles. When I was a child, my parents divorced, and I moved to Cheshire with my sister Gemma, and that's where I spent most of my childhood. I was interested in music and loved to sing. I was inspired by Elvis, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, and Freddie Mercury. I saw that cancer was a big problem in the world, so I grew up my hair just so that I could donate it to Little Princess Trust, a cancer organization. I want everyone at my concerts to feel safe, so I support LGBTQ+ all the way. I sold Pride merch at one concert and donated all the profit to Pride organizations. Once, I raised $1.2 million on a solo tour and donated it to 62 charities. My life motto is treat people with kindness. Small changes end up making a big difference. It's about being a lot nicer to each other rather than don't do this, don't do that, yes this, not that. It's just treat people with kindness. The world would be such a better place if everyone would just be kind. Thanks for listening.
Hello, I'm Ivana Lynch. I was born on August 16, 1991. I am an actress, writer, podcaster, animal rights activist, and veganist. My professional career started when I starred in the Harry Potter films as Luna Lovegood, numbers 5 through 8. After those ended, I went to live in London, where I now live with my bunny Puff. I went vegetarian at the age of 11. I started thinking about what I was eating when I read books about what we were eating and how bad it was. Then I became vegan. It was a lot harder than being vegetarian. But when I did it, it felt good that I was saving even a couple animals. Most of how I got my opinion out as an activist is mostly on my podcast, The Chickpeas. I also run a subscription box called Kind of Beauty because most people don't realize it, but most makeup products are tested on animals, and that's definitely not right. I'm also writing a book about this. I think I am a peacemaker because I stand up for animals and try to make the world a better place. I hope you have a good day.
Hello, my name is Lech Wałęsa. I'm the first democratically elected president of Poland. I received over 30 awards from various countries, and in 1983 the Nobel Peace Prize, and more than 40 honorary degrees from various countries, but various universities such as Harvard and Columbia. I was president for a glorious 5 years, from 1990 to 1995. The government that I set up was a democratic republic. I fought against communism in the Polish government, beginning when I worked in the shipyards of Gdansk. I unionized nearly 10 million of the country's working age population, giving them a voice to workers' rights, and turned it into a social movement called Solidarność, or Solidarity. Through civil resistance and protest, I was arrested many times. The important social change that I led was supported by the Vatican and many countries around the world. The pro-democratic movement that I started helped to end communist rule in Poland, helped to pressure a stop to the Cold War between the US and the USSR. My favorite quote from myself is, "We hold our heads high despite the price we've paid because freedom is priceless." The reason that is my favorite quote is because it shows that struggle is not to waste, because everyone must be free to live. People born free often do not realize how much freedom is really worth. I'm considered a peacemaker because I stopped modern dictators in the Polish government who are oppressing the people. In summary, I worked in the shipyards of Gdansk. Then I started and led the Solidarity movement, fighting against and stopping communist rule in Poland, and I was the first democratically elected president of Poland.
Hello, my name is Desmond Tutu. I was born on October 7th, 1931, in Klerksdorp, in Northwest Africa. My mother, Alan Dorothy, and my father, Zachariah Zelilo. Our family was poor. I was the second son of my parents, their first one, and their first one, Tamsak, Tamsakna, um, died in infancy. I was sick from birth from polio, a disease uh, which can cause paralysis and in many cases can kill. As a result, only my right hand was atrophied. I failed the arithmetic component of my primary school exam, but despite that, my father secured my entry to the John Hansenberg Bantu High School in 1945, where I excelled academically. Outside of school, I earned money selling oranges and worked as a caddy for white golfers. Entering my adulthood, I trained teaching and married Normali Norm Nomalizo Leah. In 1990, I was ordained as an angelic priest and in 1962 moved to United Kingdom to study theology at King's College London. In 1966, I returned to Southern Africa, teaching at the Federal Theology Seminary and then University of Botswana, Lesotho, and Swaziland. From 17 from 1978 to 1985, he was the General Secretary of the South African Council of Churches. I assisted as a meditator between rival black factions, and after the 1994 general election resulted in a coalition government headed by Mandela. The later selected me to chair the Truth of Reconciliation Commission to investigate past human rights abuses committed by both pro and anti-defeated groups. In 2010, I retired from public. I think I'm a peacemaker because I campaigned to fight poverty, sexism, racism, and homophobia. Do your do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good. Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bit of good put together that overwhelm the world.